What I find absolutely extraordinary, even ridiculous, is the lack of strategic conversations that are going on in female-owned businesses. After working with women for so many years, the kind of strategies that they're talking about are all these surface level, very superficial strategies that they have like tiny little blips of results, but not the real results that actually drive business growth. And it's time that we had those discussions, ladies. So today, that is what we're going to talk about. I'm going to share with you the 4 strategies that are essential, that interconnect, that drive demand, profitability, and sustainability for your business. And in that means that you also have the potential and the option for future growth, i.e. your scalability built in. So stay tuned. These are coming right up. Hello, I'm Jessica Osborne, the host of She's the Business podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am a marketing strategist, a business coach, a business specialist, really. I've been in this game, been in marketing, been growing brands and businesses for well over 25 years. I think it's actually coming up to almost the 3-decade mark very soon. And I simply love helping people to find that sweet spot in the market where you get noticed, where you're recognized, where you can sell your services at a really appropriate price, and ultimately have a business that not only feels fun and fulfilling, but also works for your life. And I know there's some big fluffy buzzwords and all of that, but today in this session, you're going to find out what are the gears that you need to have in your business that really get those cogs turning, that actually make this work from a commercial standpoint. Yes, you're running a business, and that is the whole point of it. So this podcast has been created by women for women to bring to you an overview of strategies, mindset, health, wealth, energetics, spirituality, all of the things that we women use and need in order to be successful as a leader of our own business. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And without further ado, we will get into today's episode, which is talking to you about these 4 strategies. Why are more women not having these kind of discussions? I actually think that it's purely they just don't know that they exist, or there's just so much noise going on in all of the content that you see online that is pulling our attention, pulling your focus away from where you should be focusing on in the business and pulling you into things that are visual, that are kind of fun, maybe not so fun if you don't like the idea of posting all the time on social media. But we get very heavily drawn into this whole argument around what you're doing for your marketing. And when we think about marketing, it is like they're focusing on just this tiny, tiny little amount of what actually goes into marketing in a true business. And that is some of the stuff that you see. Now, there's nothing wrong with it. Let me just say for a moment, there is nothing wrong with the actions that we do for marketing. I will say that over and over again. Yes, we do need to do some activities. Yes, we do need to communicate with our audiences. Yes, we do need to put ourselves out there and all of this stuff. So none of it is actually wrong. It's just that if that's all you're focusing on is how to create social media content, what platform should you be blogging on, where do you write your stuff, how do you create visual posts or videos, and all of those things, none of it is going to be moving the needle in your business. And you will know this if you have been trying it for however long you've been following these pathways and all this advice that you hear. The majority of advice given to women is all about the aesthetic stuff in your business, how to look the part, how to have better brand photos, how to show up and be more you. And that we're kind of missing the key that actually makes a business successful in the first place. It all goes together. Yes, as someone who's a background in marketing, your brand, the look and feel, it all comes together, it ties it up nicely. But think of it a bit like a present, right? So the visual aspect is almost just like the wrapping paper or the bow on the top. It is not needed. That's not the actual thing that you're getting. The crux of the business is what's inside, what's actually in the gift. And today we're breaking that apart. There are 4 key strategies that are present in every single high growth business that I have ever worked for. I've worked for multinational corporations. I've worked for very high growth startups, everything in between. Every successful business that was operating in a highly competitive market, that had high profit growth opportunities, and a never ending stream of leads and clients coming in, well, they had these 4 strategies. And trust me, it was not about the campaigns that we were running, because there were many, many different types across all these different companies. I'm talking, some of them were pre the digital age. This is like way back in the time where we were doing mail outs, actually physical direct mail sent through the post to your house. Can you imagine? That's the best way to communicate with your clients. So much easier now that we have all the online platforms and we've got social media. But what I'm here to say is that these 4 strategies were present with or without it, because it's not about what they are, it's about what we're going to talk about today. Now, there are 4. Every single one of them solves a direct problem that is very common across businesses. So I'm going to be talking with examples for our type of business, for an expertise-based business where you might be a coach, a consultant, an advisor, a trainer, an educator of some sort, maybe a therapist, where you're using your expertise in order to solve a problem for a client or to help the client solve their problem. And the funny thing is, I guess these 4 strategies actually they apply in broader types of businesses as well. But my experience is primarily in a service-based environment. So I'm speaking to you about what I know, and hopefully that is the most relevant for you because you're here on this podcast. So let's get into it. They each solve a problem. They are each required. They don't work alone. So you can't go, I'm going to pick one of these. This is not a menu of strategies. This is a 4-part of a whole. And if you don't have one, then the whole is not whole. Then it doesn't work. It's not going to operate smoothly. It's not going to operate in the way that you want it. We won't get the outcomes of the demand, the profitability, and the sustainability if one of these is missing. And also the sequence matters. Okay, so that's another really important thing to think about. The sequence matters. Most people, as you'll hear me go through these 4, they jump straight to number 4 and they skip the other 3. And no wonder it's not working when you do that, right? So the sequence absolutely matters. You have to start with the building blocks in the right order. Just like you're building a house, you don't start putting the formwork up if you've got no foundation in place. Like, the sequence matters. You need the foundation down first, then you put the formwork on top of it. I'm no builder. That's about the limit of my building technical expertise. But anyway, you understand what I'm saying. I know that you do. So let's get into this now. As we're here in a podcast episode, I'm going to run through these quite quickly. I'm not going to remove all of your questions, your doubt, whether that's actually right. Have I heard that before? Maybe I've heard something different. All of these things that your mind will likely do as I'm talking about them, you're likely to question whether that is correct. And if you are questioning it, great. Maybe you have heard something different before. If you would like to come and learn more and actually hear more about it and go through this in far more detail, then join my program called Master Your Marketing. It's free of charge, doesn't cost you anything to join it. Inside there, I've got a number of trainings where I'm going through these in far more detail with some exercises for you, some things that you can actually use to figure out where you're at and what is present or not present in your own business. So I do recommend that you go through Master Your Marketing and join me in there. So you can head to jessicaosborne.com/MYM. The link is in the show notes. Scroll down, grab that, register for this program and come and join me in there. Okay. Enough. Without further ado, strategy number 1. So this is my core framework that I use inside Business Jam, which is my signature program. And we're going to go through the 4 key strategies. That is what I teach through Business Jam. So number 1 is differentiation. Now, I say differentiation. you hear, oh, yes, I've heard that before. Okay, this isn't a new word. No doubt you've heard it if you've done any kind of marketing training in the past. Yes, you know about differentiation. And I know some people might straight away be thinking, oh, I don't need to listen to this anymore. Thing is, most people misinterpret differentiation. They misunderstand it and they don't use it correctly. So I'm going to give you a few quick pointers as to what the incorrect way is and what the correct way is to be utilizing the strategy of differentiation. So incorrectly, the way that a lot of people misinterpret it, they think that means, oh, that's just me choosing a niche, or I just put different stuff in my packages and that's me differentiating because, oh, I've got, something different in there than what other people have. It doesn't mean anything that you have that's different. What differentiation really means is that you're perceived as distinctly different from the other options in the market. The reason why this strategy is so, so important is because if you're competing and you have a perception of being interchangeable, like you are the same and very similar, too similar in the eyes of the buyers to everybody else there, then you become invisible. You become overlooked. And if you do happen to be in the running at any point in time, as in they are considering you, they're going to be comparing you based on price because that's the differentiator that they can see. So what we want to do is remove the comparison, get out of that space, not be a commodity, not be even a specialist amongst many other specialists. You want to be in a space where you are distinct. There's a distinct difference. And the reason why you're distinct is because you're an expert. Not because, oh, I've got this kooky branding style and I always have, rainbow colors or whatever it may be. I look different. That's not differentiation. That's just a form of your visual branding that's allowing people to kind of connect that style with you. That's not differentiation. Differentiation is you have different ideas. You have your own way. You actually are standing up and showing up as an expert, because if you're selling expertise, then you should have expertise, right? So what is your expertise? If you're just saying the same thing, regurgitating stuff that other people have said or do, you're not an expert. You are the same as them. You're just a communicator of their stuff. They're the expert. So this is a transition and a big change in position for most women. A lot of women kind of they don't try to avoid it. They subconsciously avoid it because it suddenly feels scary to put yourself in a place where you feel like you might get judged, you might get criticized. Inside your brain, it probably all the thoughts of, oh, well, people will say, who does she think she is? Or she's not as expert as so-and-so. There's going to be a whole lot of fear and doubt inside your own head, mind you, that is going to hold you back and stop you from doing this. Now, that is a battle that absolutely you have to fight your own brain. But there are some ways in which, when we do this inside Business Jam that, help you kind of go through the layers to find the place where you actually suddenly are very confident in standing and firm in this is the right place for you. And you therefore have the ability to stand up and be distinctly different. So there is a process behind it, but that is the goal. That's the outcome. That's why differentiation is the first strategy, because it is the only way to prevent yourself becoming part of the wallpaper. So many people tell me, oh, I feel really overlooked and I just can't get people to notice me. They come in, they leave, you feel like they're all just floating past you. And it's not like, oh, you need a better hook or you need better messaging. Messaging communicates your strategy. It doesn't create the strategy in the first place. You have to have something to communicate in order for messaging to be effective. Messaging just, makes you better at saying what you're saying. So you have to have something good to say in the first place. It's not a messaging problem. It is 100% your positioning. And by positioning, it's not just where you are in the market. This is distinctly different, your differentiation. So that solves the problem of recognition. First problem, right? People recognize you, they spot you, they see you, they know that you're distinctly different. Then what? Well, that's not enough. People don't buy just recognition. They buy your signature solution. They want what you have. They want not what you have literally, as in they don't want your business, hopefully, because that would be probably not the best idea. They should have something that fits them. They want what you know. They want the learning that you have, the skills, the expertise. They want to purchase that in the way that you are providing it. So whether that's through coaching, whether that's through a done-for-you service, whether that's through an education, it's all fine. They all can be interchangeable. But your way, your signature solution is your way. It is something that is uniquely yours, that, as you can hear, goes hand in hand with your differentiation. So that's like, here's your difference, and then here's how you actually do it. So they go hand in hand together. Now, once you have your signature solution, obviously there's a whole offer piece that fits in it. So, inside Business Jam, we work really hard on helping you create the right offer to put out to your market. This is how I deliver my way. This is how you can buy my way from me. That, clients, once they have already got that trust in you, they see you as the expert, they're expecting premium prices, as you do from experts. And that means that we create a really great signature offering. That is where your profit driver comes from in your business. This is the commercial center of your business, where we drive everything to. You want to have people buying your signature solution. Makes it really easy and simple. One of the biggest mistakes I see, before we move on to the third one, a lot of coaches, like I've made this mistake myself many times, and I've seen it so many times with clients I work with, is that they tend to see so many ways you can help people and different opportunities that they end up creating a suite of services. So instead of having a signature solution with a very clear offering, kind of end up with this like menu of services. And the reason why this is such a big mistake is, first of all, it totally diminishes your differentiation positioning as an expert. Secondly, it's putting you into really like an employee mode, where you're treating the customer like the boss. Like, you tell me what you want and I'll deliver it. Here's the menu of services. And once they're there choosing, it's them making the choice. Whereas an expert would know, this is the solution and I'm going to guide you. I know where I'm going. So that's such a huge mistake so many people make. They think that more services means more opportunity, more income, more clients. Usually it means the exact opposite, because not only have you just placed all of the onus and the leadership, given that back to your client instead of you taking the lead, like I just explained, the other reason is it adds so much back-end resource and admin to you. You now have to market and sell multiple services. Every single one of those takes time to build the offering, the pricing, the messaging around it, put up whatever it is that you're going to use in order to sell it, processes in the back end, onboarding, back end admin, the list goes on. And before you know it, you're drowning in your own business, drowning in having all of these different offerings and managing them all and servicing them all. That is not a profitable business. That is a very top heavy one, because you're going to end up with needing more resources, whether that's people or systems, AI tools, all of the stuff, so much more stuff in order to be able to even handle it, deliver it, operate it. When you have a streamlined business with far less going on, then you are able to turn a higher profit. So, of course, your signature solution and the offer that goes along with it, the idea is that is on its own profitable. You are earning more from that than the cost of sales plus the cost to deliver combined, right? Then the third strategy is where we actually amplify profit. We actually turn even more profit, because the most expensive part of the whole client journey is the initial marketing and selling. It's actually winning the client in the first place costs the most. So what if we could get rid of that or diminish that cost down and have more revenue that is claimed per client without needing the more marketing and selling? So this is where the third strategy comes in, and I call it the offer ecosystem. So what this is not creating a suite of services at all. It's actually creating a bit of a stack or a journey. So it's a few offerings that help drive most amount of people into your signature solution. And then there may be an offering that sits either before or after it that enables you to improve that journey. So it will depend on what your solution is, to whether you need something before or after, maybe both, but it will extend the customer lifetime value. And usually that means that there is something that you go on to afterwards, right? After the signature solution, there's like an ongoing, another element where they stay with you. So all that work you did in winning them and in making it amazing and the great result they got through your signature solution, it's not then finished. It doesn't have to end then. You can continue and expand the lifetime value of that client by having other options for them to go on with. So what I love about the offer ecosystem model, obviously it is always designed uniquely for your business and very specific for the transformation that you offer and what you do. But it is just so simple and easy because you don't market them all. You only are marketing your main offering, really, or anything that leads into it. So we can talk more about that, far more detail. As I said, I'm going super fast, giving you the highlight reel of this. But we're on to strategy number 4. So strategy number 4, as you can imagine, is, well, how do we get the people in there in the first place? So this is what I call your demand system. So instead of there being just random marketing activities where you're sitting there, you've created a content calendar and you're following, Guru A's social media strategy with Instagram Reels, and you've got a YouTube channel happening over there and you've got all this stuff going on, it's actually a more like an integrated system that you've put together that you have a number of chosen activities for each phase of your, what we call the marketing funnel. Now, marketing funnel, whatever you like to call it, whether it's a funnel or not, everybody is well aware, I think if you've been around for a while, what the phases are. You've got kind of that initial phase of awareness where someone goes from being a stranger to actually knowing of you. Maybe they enter your audience. Then we've got audience to lead where they put their hands up. Then we've got lead to client. Now, there might be a couple of like micro phases in between there, but that's generally the pathway people take from being stranger to client. So your activities should match this and map this and actually connect to each other to drive people from being strangers to clients. So your demand system enables you to bring in new leads and clients on a consistent basis. And what that does is it helps you have predictable demand. So you're not sitting there waiting for referrals, wondering if one's going to drop in this month, yes or no. And if it doesn't, then, oh my goodness, now what are you going to have to do? Maybe you've got to quickly pull the finger out and go and do some cold DMs to try to drum up a lead somewhere. Like, you don't want to be running a business on that level of stress and uncertainty, and needing to suddenly pull out crazy strategies. You want to have something that is already bringing in a consistent flow of leads and clients. Then you can choose to add on other things if you want to at times. I always tell people with advertising, because, that's clearly a strategy a lot of people use and can be used very effectively. Many people find that they've had trouble with it, and it's usually because they've been using it incorrectly in terms of their demand system. So ads, for example, are an amazing amplifier. They're not a thing on their own, but they can turn up the volume for you on something that's already working. So if you've got a beautiful flow that's already happening where people come in through door A, and then they get whatever emails, and then the next thing's offered, and they're doing it and it's working, as you just don't have enough people, well, great. Then you know that you can use ads to increase the volume of people coming in that first doorway, right? The rest of it is already done, takes care of itself. Likewise, you could use ads at a different point in the customer journey. Maybe it's like when they've already been through some of your stuff, and then it's like getting them to come back again. You can use ads so strategically when you have a system that's functional and set up and working. And then you can go, right, I want to add more people here. Great. Now I know what I can do, and you can use ads for that. Of course, there's lots of different layers of ads, and we can talk all about different layers of strategies, which we do apply in Business Jam. But that gives you just a highlight, an example of how this all works. So those are the 4 strategies. To just go over that again for you, quick recap. I know that I've been talking quickly. We've got number 1, differentiation. Now, remember, the sequence matters. This is the sequence, okay? Because you can't have the next one if you haven't got the one before it. Differentiation is where you start. You've got to know where you are in order to begin. The next one, your signature solution, is your way, like how you actually deliver the thing that you're building your differentiation on. The third one is how that signature solution is supported and you're able to sort of grow the profitability and also make it more sustainable for you. I talked about efficiency. I talked about limiting and lowering sales and marketing cost and expense. That's what happens when you build the ecosystem model. And then finally, your demand system is how you can create something that will consistently bring in the new leads and sales in for your signature solution. And there you have it. It doesn't sound all that complicated, does it? Now, the good thing is most people who I've worked with have already got elements. It's not like you're starting from a blank page. You've got to build the whole thing or throw away everything that you've done and start from scratch. Not at all. Usually you've got some really great stuff happening. It's just that it's not structured in the way that it can be used strategically. So it's usually a matter of making adjustments, improvements, and aligning these pieces so that you actually implement each of these 4 strategies correctly so that they work. And that's the work that we do together. Inside Business Jam. As I said to you before, I am teaching a deeper element of what I've just been through because this has been not quite, maybe about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So going through this in a little bit longer time, a few separate sessions with some exercises for you inside Master Your Marketing. Head along in there if you would like to go through this and learn more about it. I'm sharing a lot more in that program. There's the standard option when you join is free of charge. You can go in for the VIP, which is a very small fee, and that gives you additional access to have some more personalized responses. Then that really is what I have for you today. So I hope this has been one of the most valuable podcast episodes that you've listened to this week. Hopefully this month. Please save it, tag it, share it with a friend. Make sure you're subscribed, please, to She's the Business podcast so that you get future episodes. There have been so many amazing ones. So dive back in to our recent episodes, have a look for things that you would like to hear more about and, have a listen in. But we've got so many great ones coming up. A new episode drops every single week. And I bring on guest experts who are experts in all sorts of areas that I am not expert in so that, you get a really holistic, well-rounded resource for you to help you grow your business. That's it from me. I will see you here, same time, same place next week. Bye for now.